Good afternoon. This is Sherry Duvall with Redoubt News. We're here with Paul Herndon and attorney Colton Boyles, who have some big news for Bonner County and for the Panhandle Health District.
So the big news is that we all know, if you're in the area, and especially if you live in Kootenai County, that the Panhandle Health District Board last week on July 23rd passed and issued an order that requires all persons in Kootenai County to wear a mask. They call it a face covering whenever you can't achieve social distancing, whatever that means too. They don't define a face covering. They don't define social distancing.
They don't define social distancing as 6 feet?
Do they in there?
Whenever you can, and if you're outside in the area of the face of the earth isn't sufficient, I guess the order would apply. Or maybe it's the universe that applies to the area, but we don't know.
When they did that, I own a raw milk dairy farm here in Bonner County, and we sell in 6 retail stores in Kootenai County, and a lot of our customers buy our milk there, and a lot of people we work with, which would be employees of the stores, are suffering under the mask mandate. And I felt the need to do something about it because as a raw milk dairy farmer, I believe in food freedom and I believe in health freedom. I believe that the science doesn't back up the need to mask, that it will do any good as far as protection from the current virus, so-called pandemic.
Didn't the CDC come out at one point saying that masks were not effective?
That was their initial take on it.
Okay.
And then, of course, they changed their tune. Now, they say their initial take on it was because they wouldn't do any good and they were trying to protect the supply of masks. Now they came out and said that
that sounds a bit
masks,
political to me.
It does. And then they said that cloth face masks would work. So then our governor, Brad Little, essentially modeled the use of cloth face masks by going out whenever he would have a press conference, etc. He would have one with him. However, whenever the cameras weren't rolling, the cloth face mask would either be hanging off his ear, it would be in his hands. Essentially, he would be contaminating it. And some people I know were at a recent, I think it was a convention of a Republican Party meeting, possibly, down in the southern part of the state, and the governor had his cloth face mask on only when he was on the camera. Otherwise, he was literally at tables with it hanging down around his chin, and he was shaking hands and glad handing everybody, and then going
So again,
back
it was just for the cameras.
just for the cameras.
And is he the only one that you know of that's done that?
It would seem like actually everybody in Kootenai County who is wearing masks are doing exactly the same thing.
Okay.
Now, I've gone and done the research, both on the science behind masking as far as its prevention of transmission of viruses, and basically the research says it's very ineffective. And I've also looked at the World Health Organization videos where they recommend how a person should mask in order for it to be effective. And first off, they say with cloth masks, it has to be a 3-layer cloth mask with a polyethylene filter as the middle layer. The Panhandle Health District does not define that as far as what type of cloth mask or any other face covering it would have to be, and they certainly don't point any member of the general public toward the World Health Organization as in the videos that they've put out. Centura Health has put out a video that shows you how easily and quickly, and they use UV powder and a black light to show how even just running into the grocery store and putting on your mask, even following some proper protocol of wearing personal protective equipment, ends up fully contaminating your hands, the mask, and your face within about 10 seconds on that video. And we've linked those on our website to show people that obviously masks are not going to do the job, and there's no good science behind it, and the general public isn't trained to effectively use cloth masks or any other type of mask for that matter.
Well, the N95 masks that I've heard so much about, are those the 3 layers with the filter?
No, an N95 mask is not a cloth mask, and it does not have 3 layers, and there's different types of N95 masks, and any official recommendations regarding masking actually typically say don't go for the N95 mask because they're trying to keep those for healthcare workers, etc., because of the limited supply.
Well, I
and
did hear
they're
one.
only approved for source control as well, and it appears that the chairman of the Panhandle Health District was wearing an N95 with a vent, and so if it's source control but you have a vent, it kind of defeats the purpose of protecting others from wearing a mask.
Well, I did hear one professional say that the N99 and the N100 are better, and if you have to wear something, wear one of those.
There's a gentleman down in Kootenai County who is, I don't know what his background is. I think it's in mechanical engineering. He does a lot of work with a company up here in Sandpoint where they build respirators, which are actually sold into the healthcare industry. And he has done his research quite effectively and has shown that in order for an N95 mask to be efficient at stopping the passing of virion, you would have to wear 5 of them.
5?
You would have
Wow.
to have a layer of 5 N95s. In order to, and he says that would cut out your chance of passing a certain percentage of virion, but not all. And even after wearing the 5, you would still effectively dose someone else with the virus enough for them to supposedly get sick.
Which brings us back to your filing here, your lawsuit.
So basically, once that got passed last week, we realized that essentially masking is a farce and it should not be mandated. If people want to wear a mask, they should have the choice of wearing a mask, and the rest of those who don't want to wear a mask because they've studied the science, which includes myself, should not have to wear a mask. Therefore, I retained Colton and some other good attorneys, and we created a fundraiser to help pay for the fees that are necessary to support a lawsuit against Panhandle Health to get rid of the mask mandate. And so today we filed the lawsuit.
And now, Colton, would you tell us a little bit about the details of the lawsuit?
Sure, I'm happy to. In our lawsuit, it's a petition for a declaration that the Panhandle Health District violated the open meeting laws, not only in their July 17th and July 23rd meetings, but that there were events that took place behind the scenes where they were receiving information relating to the decision that they made to mandate a mask, which carried with it a misdemeanor penalty. And if you don't know what that means, it means that the tyrants can come grab you and throw you into jail for a year, separate you from your family, destroy your life, kill your business, scare your workers into wearing a mask and complying. I mean, we're on the precipice. I look at this and I go, wow, Adolf Hitler is getting elected into our local politics right now, and I don't have my Star of David right, so I can't go into the store or I can't rent a book. I tried to go to our local library in Sandpoint yesterday and they said, quote, I don't know your status, so we'll give you curbside service, right? I mean, I don't remember the last time Rosa Parks or Martin Luther King Jr. thought, you know, the color of your skin or the fact that you're going to wear a mask or not, or you had an inherent characteristic of your body you don't control that should determine what governmental services you could get. It's all about the content of your character. So everybody from Brad Little down, who's setting the tone of the politics in the last Redoubt, the only place you can go for political freedom in the world now is no longer America, it's Idaho. If we lose Idaho, our children aren't going to have anywhere to go to search for that American dream. And so we filed a lawsuit. I think it's an appropriate, a measured response to the tyrannical abuse and, frankly, the ignorant and disgusting actions of 4 of the members and 5, including the chairman. They embarrass me about how they act as a public official, and we're going to hold them accountable. And we're going to replace Jai Nelson, and we're going to place Dr. McLandris, because they've been appointed for 11 and 30 years respectively. And that's
What?
not how
I did not hear that. Say that again.
it was reported to me that Jai Nelson was appointed 11 years ago and Dr. McLandris was appointed 30 years ago. And not only that, but they're medical professionals. Dr. McLandris himself works for Kootenai, the Kootenai Hospital conglomerate, and now they're ratcheting up this emergency. They're getting additional money through Medicaid. They have an incentive to ratchet up the emergency. So he should have a conflict of interest, and he should declare that, and he should abstain from voting. And in fact, he's driving this whole thing, working behind the scenes, I believe, with the chairman and Mark Lyons, the district council, to draft motions and to draft the order behind a veil of anonymity, and the public doesn't know what's happening. Walt Kirby called in during the meeting, the second meeting on July 23rd, and made a motion. He said, I can't hear. I say we vote up or down on the mask mandate. The chair pulled his mask off and talked into, and then he asked his attorney, who he had ordered, I believe, to draft a motion behind the scenes and a draft mandate. He had the attorney read it in, then they seconded it. So they violated whatever rules of order they're following, whether it's Roberts, and we can't get the bylaws. They're not sharing the bylaws with us. We have elected officials trying to get them. They won't turn them over. So, I mean, it's just violation after violation after violation, and if the judges don't rule in our order, then we're going to have to start asking ourselves, do the judges have integrity too? I still believe that our Idaho judges have that type of unbiased, neutral, decision-making integrity that we're entitled to, but we're getting dangerously close about how far the tyranny is coming. And so this is just one little effort, a measured effort. There's more to come, and we really appreciate people like Paul and Angelo Brunson and Daniel Snatter for filing this lawsuit and being the tip of the spear, and Redoubt News for covering this, because this matters more than you know. Your children's future is on the line. You guys need to contribute. wonderwe.com/mask mandate and help Paul be the tip of the spear and push this forward, because we need to retain doctors like Dr. Gold, who just got fired for coming out and leading a coalition of doctors and talking about how we can cure and treat coronavirus. Well, the Silicon Sultans don't want you to know that information. Bill Gates doesn't want you to know that information because he wants to contaminate your DNA. George Soros doesn't want you to have that information because he can't own everything in the world and bring Lucifer's dream here and then kill Christians, right? We are going to advocate for every religion and everyone's choice. But what you guys need to realize right now is that they're attacking the choice. So you don't have the freedom to be a Christian or a Muslim or a Jew or an atheist. Right? So Paul is defending that for you guys, and I just implore you and I pray that you'll get in the fight. You'll contribute however you can, whether it's money or time or research.
Would you repeat the fundraiser website, please?
The fundraiser website is wonderwe.com/mask mandate, and that is also linked on our pleasantmeadowcreamery.com page, which is
and
also
Redoubt News will share that in our article as well.
And I would like to say also, one of the reasons I care so deeply about a mask mandate is because a mask, in this instance, is a medical device, and they are mandating that I do something on myself and on my children that I should have the freedom and the choice to make for my own family. And if they're going to do that today regarding masks, what is coming tomorrow? That's actually what I think is the most important point about a mask mandate, is if we don't stop the government short of our faces, where do we stop them? Is it going to be when they go subcutaneous, which means they're going to give you a shot? So that's why I
mandatory vaccines does seem to be the way it's heading, doesn't it?
It does seem to be the way it's heading. If you're going to mandate that people wear masks, then what's going to stop you from mandating vaccines?
Mm-hmm. And what will stop you from having a chip with all of your information implanted at the same time?
We completely agree, and that's why we think it's necessary to stop this madness now before it goes further.
Well, we applaud you, and we thank you very much for taking the bull by the horns, as they say in the farm business, right?
Exactly. We have a bull here. He doesn't have horns, and I would definitely never take him by the horns. But I'm willing to take this one.
You did very well, and I appreciate very much that you coming on Redoubt News and sharing this great piece of history here, because that's what it's going to end up being, is a piece of history.
Exactly.
And we will share this on Redoubt News. When we write the article, we will share the entire draft here.
Very
Absolutely.
Well,
thank you.